Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zakir Jacob. After dilly-dallying for 6 full days, finally the Karnataka police have acted against the chief of the Muruga Mutt, who is accused of child molestation and rape by 2 victims. The police were sitting on his case file, refusing to arrest him, even not questioning him or calling him for any kind of interrogation. They took him into custody finally yesterday. The pontiff was sent to judicial custody. His case came up before court today, and the court pulled up the police saying, "Why have you not even questioned the accused, not even once, since these accusations came to light?" He's now been sent to police custody till the 5th of September, but not without what transpired to be a full day of high drama in Chitradurga.
A dramatic late-night arrest at the Sri Muruga Mutt in Karnataka's Chitradurga. 6 days after he was booked for raping 2 minors, the law has finally caught up with Lingayat Seer Shivamurthy Muruga Sharanu. Under heavy security, he was presented before the magistrate court, which sent him to 14 days judicial custody.
People have all gathered here in a huge number as they heard this news of the seer being arrested, how the barricades in hundreds are being placed at DC Circle and at the multiple locations to ensure that the law and order situation is in place and no untoward incident takes place.
But the very next morning, he was rushed to the hospital after complaining of chest pain.
We have done ECG for Muruga Sharanu. Now it is showing some changes regarding myocardial infarction. Heart attack changes are there.
The excuses, though, fell flat. The seer was taken to the district court in a wheelchair, where he was remanded to police custody till the 5th of September.
You can see the vehicle is very much being parked in front of the court, and that's the entry gate that we're getting to see. There's a police vehicles too being parked right in front of the police. In fact, wanted his custody for 5 days, asked the court for it, and the court says without accused, how will a law even let you for a custody? So the accused will at any cost will have to be present in front of the court.
The seer is facing charges under the Prevention of Children Against Sexual Act and the Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Act because one of the victims is a Dalit. The 2 girls are aged 15 and 16 years. The seer is accused of beating them and sexually assaulting them for over 2 years with the help of a lady warden, a junior pontiff and other staff. The arrest came only after massive outrage against the Basavaraj Bommai government for not doing enough.
ಕಾನೂನು ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ನಡೀತದೆ. ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡುವುದು ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮುಕ್ತವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
Many have blamed the political patronage the seer enjoyed across party lines for the police initially going slow on him. Given the Lingayat community's political clout in an election-bound state, most parties have either maintained silence on the issue or come out in support of the seer.
However big or low a person may be, the offence POCSO law is very clear. I was not happy that many political parties, even our own president, Congress President Mr. Kumar said, he's a noble person.
So will the seer's clout come in the way of a free and fair probe in the case?
So let's take you through what exactly happened at the district court today in the afternoon, where the seer was remanded to police custody. The police custody was given by the court primarily because the court found it bizarre that the police had not called him in for questioning even once after the registration of the FIR, which happened last Friday. The police have been ordered by the court to ensure that proper medical care is given to the seer. Remember, after he was remanded to judicial custody late last night, this morning, he said he complained of chest pain and he was shifted to a local hospital. Also, the court has gone on to say that hospitalization is now required only if his health condition worsens. So this predominant feeling or suspicion that he was using his worsening health as some kind of a ruse or an excuse to avoid going to police lockup or to jail, that the court has negated as well. Let me now go across to Harish Upadhyay, who's joining us live from Bengaluru. Ritu is also joining us from the Muruga Mutt in Chitradurga. Harish, first things first, I want to talk about the political ramifications. For whatever reason, the Karnataka police knows best. They took a whole week to arrest this gentleman. But now, does it seem like the political ranks seem to have closed against the Lingayat Swami? Because the facts of the case, as it was placed in the public domain, simply were too staggering to be ignored.
Absolutely. Yet you do not have anyone coming out and criticizing him. All that we've seen is nobody is batting for him or supporting him. Even now the Chief Minister and the Home Minister are saying that there will be an impartial probe, not criticizing the Swamiji, not openly backing these girls, two victims who are minors. And what has happened over the last 7 days and especially over the last 10 hours or so clearly indicates that this man still enjoys a lot of clout. Imagine the top health officer in the district and the whole health administration over there came out on record, lied that this man was serious, he was in the ICU, he possibly suffered a cardiac attack, and then a few hours later the court puts its foot down saying you have to produce him before the magistrate, we haven't seen him, and only then can we talk further. And the man walks into a police jeep without any oxygen mask, any health monitoring device, and then walks out to the magistrate hall, and clearly showing that over the last 10 hours, everyone from his medical team to the district health officer, the surgeon and others lied on record about his health, and they were making all preparations to shift him, airlift him in fact from Chitradurga to Bengaluru, and this only raises a larger question. If he can influence so much while he is in police custody, in judicial custody, beg your pardon, behind bars, imagine the kind of clout that he enjoyed over the last 6 days while he was in this mud, which is also a crime scene. And then what he can do in the coming few days, whether it's the eyewitnesses, the accused, the family members, with the evidence, and this could be one serious ground for the police to ensure that he doesn't get a bail anytime soon. Also, there is a fear that if anyone raises this point in the High Court or the Supreme Court, the state government and the state police will have a lot of questions for which they won't have answers, and many believe that's a solid ground to seek a court-monitored probe.
All right. Let me also go across to Ritu. She was there at the district court in Chitradurga, which heard this case earlier this afternoon. What did the court say, particularly about the police's role, and why has the court remanded him to the same police custody, the same police which was reluctant to act against him for the last 6 days?
So yes, first of all, the arrest comes after the pressure that was being mounted from the protesters and the activists, and you see there were been continuously slogans that were raised in the Chitradurga demanding for a justice. They said that they won't be stopping in this protest until unless justice is not served to these minor girls, because they are, is the police scared that the seer, who holds a very significant role here and is a very powerful mutt as well. So is that because of a fear that the police officials have, and there's a pressure too from the state government on police? So why is there no action? These were the, the slogans that were being raised from the protesters, and after all that, you see the arrest was being made at around 10:30 p.m. and was being taken for the medical examination. For almost 2 hours the examination took place, but all of a sudden 9:30 a.m. is when we get to see a different angle to this whole story, where he says that he is having a cardiac issue and chest pain, throat pain, back pain. So these were the health issues that he had put out to the police, and the police then had rushed him to the Chitradurga government hospital, where he was going for a was undergoing the treatment. He also took medical test as well for all that he had complained. But yes, the court specifically had mentioned the police that now that he's been given to the police for 3-day custody, the police will have to ensure that his medical test happens every day. So this is one crucial point that the judge had made it to the police and have told police to ensure about it. But apart from that, the judge also told that his condition in physically that he was that he had appeared in front of the court, he looks all fine. The judge also looked up to the report of the doctor from the legal side of the seer, who submitted this report saying that he is in a critical condition and cannot move from there. So these were the things that had taken place within the court.
All right. I want to thank both Harish and Ritu for joining us. Let me now open this up to our guests who are joining us this evening on Viewpoint. Anurag Naidu is a political analyst. Yogita Bayana, women's rights activist. Advocate Sriram Nayak is a lawyer. Nirmal Kaur is former DGP of police, and former IPS officer B.S. Arun, senior journalist, also on the broadcast this evening. Let me start with Anurag Naidu. The fact that, look, I'm not going into, suspecting whether he had a cardiac arrest or whether his health issues suddenly came up. But isn't it a legitimate question to ask? For the last 6 days, while he was in the mutt and while the police should have arrested him, he seemed to be perfectly in a healthy condition. But right after the arrest, He seems to have everything from back pain to throat pain to even possible cardiac arrest, which is why the cops then took him to the hospital. Doesn't that seem a little odd to you, Mr. Naidu? You have to unmute, please. Thank you. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Let's be very even-handed. Let's be very fair to him. Let's give him a benefit of doubt at least now, because all these years, Dr. Shivamurthy has been a very famous and a very largely followed seminaries in Karnataka for the Lingayat community, and he has done great philanthropy work. There's no doubt about it. He has relentless service to the lakhs of students studied from the mud, and also some education and health aid given. So all these years he was seen in a very different light, and all of a sudden we have some incident coming up where we don't know as devotees what to believe, whether to believe it or not. But yes, a lot of people.
But Mr. Naidu, just because he's done good work in the past does not mitigate him from the accusations he's facing in the present.
I agree. Yes, I agree. But that's the point. It's very difficult for him to believe. Now, we have a situation. There is, with all probability, he might have never imagined in his own life that he will be arrested or he will be summoned and there will be a POCSO against him. So, you have to give, this is the situation of his life. And anyone, even you or me, Zaka, we will be very tensed when police rings up and says, you need to come for an investigation, our heartbeats increase. So there's every possibility of he having a cardiac attack or minor one, whatever it is.
Sir, for the last 6 days, his health seemed to be fine. The police were on the lookout for him, but suddenly after the arrest, his pulse rate and heart rate goes up. Anyway, like I said, I don't want to get into it or look at it in a suspicious nature, but Yogita Bayana, I think this argument that, oh, he's a good man, he's done good work, he's done this for society, that for society, does not hold water when it comes to the current accusations that he's facing. He has to go out there and clear his name of those charges if at all he is innocent. I mean, that onus is on him, Yogita Bayana. This argument that, oh, he's a good man, he's done good work in the past, does not hold for the accusations he's facing right now.
Nothing is above law, Zaka, and nothing is above POCSO, because POCSO is a very strong, very sensitive law which was made keeping everything in mind, and onus is on the criminal, accused right now, I would say. And if he has not done anything, if he is not guilty, let him just prove it. No, it's fine. It's not that, okay, so they always believe and say that there is a misuse and this and that. Why they are coming after so many years of, the case. So these are the things we are very much used to as helping the victims and, helping the survivors. So we are used to hearing all this, and these tactics which he has used is very, very like a modus of operandi with all these so-called godmen. It happened in Asaram case. People denied the followers. He's a good man, but it was proved. Ram Rahim, it was proven. So many cases we see, when it comes to affairs like this gentleman, it happens. And I'm not saying that he has done it. If he has not done it, why, he is so restless. There is no reason to be restless. He's a godman. He's a special teacher. Why his heartbeat is going up and down? Why he's getting cardiac arrest? We all know these things. Let the law take its own course. It will be proven.
So Sriram Naik, I think what point that Yogita is making is an absolutely valid one. Like I said, we're not going to cast aspersions on all godmen and godwomen out there, but the fact is, there seems to be a particular problem here, whether it is Nityananda, whether it is Asaram Bapu, whether it is Ram Rahim. In many of these cases, the convictions have happened as well. In Mr. Shivamurthy's case, it hasn't happened. Like I said, he is an accused right now. It's up to the law to figure out if he's guilty or not. But the fact is, there seems to be this cloak of legitimacy, if you will, that some of these god men and women seem to enjoy, as also political backing, no doubt about it, whereby they seem to be able to do anything and get away with it until things like this come to light. It's happened, like I said, with Asaram Bapu, with Nityananda, and of course with Ram Rahim.
So what happens here is, after he filed the petition, or because of the pressure of the news channels, media, he was arrested. The law has taken its course, and now as per law, whatever he says, that the medical problems or whatever it has to be dealt with. And on a regular basis, in whatever cases, if an accused says that he has some medical problems, the regular course, whatever is being done right now, it will be done. So it is not new.
Okay.
So the basic petition which we had filed was for unbiased investigation, and the court has to monitor the investigation because of whatever happened and whatever statements were given by the political leaders and other people. So now the petition still stands, and even now the court can monitor after looking at a petition.
Nirmal Kaur, you know, the role of the police has been called into sharp question over the last 1 week, and certainly even today in the court. The court was surprised that the police have not called the accused number 1 for questioning even for 1 day, and they are happy with the judicial remand, which is why the court is today given police custody. Why should the role of the police not be brought into question? After all, what explains why they did not, leave alone arrest, but they did not even, you know, confront the seer, call him in for questioning for these last 6 days?
I think they should have done it immediately on receiving the complaint. And, you know, after he's arrested, like everyone else, recently we saw the case of Partha Chatterjee also, or anyone, you know, a godman or a politician or someone charged with corruption, the first thing they do is report sick. They say they are too sick to be facing judicial process.
Yeah.
They're too sick to be facing, you know, the normal legal investigation into the things. And, you know, after they are arrested, for such a big godman, he doesn't even have the dignity to stand on his own 2 feet. And he's hiding behind some illness or whatever. At least if you're accused of a crime and if you have not actually done it, stand up and clear your name. Stand up to investigation. He's not even doing that. And he's just, you know, taking advantage of these procedures and, you know, delays and, you know, these kind of putting one spanner after the other into the legal process. That is not done. And I am hoping that police, that now that he's been arrested and taken into custody, will make a fair investigation, and we'll get to the bottom of the matter. That is to be hoped in the interest of all our citizens and all our children, you know.
B.S. Arun, as a political analyst, as a political watcher, the fact that no politician of any stature in Karnataka came forth in the last 6 days and actually said that these allegations are grave and it needs to be investigated properly. No politician came forth and said that, look, at the end of the day, these are victims, minor victims. The full protection of the law must be extended to them, and the full might of the law should be used to investigate these charges, because these are grave charges. Today, I think after the arrest, we are slowly seeing voices like a Veerappa Moily, Siddaramaiah. Even the Chief Minister's soundbite today was a little different from what it was a few days ago. Is it because politicians got to a point where this case seemed to be untenable to defend publicly, therefore they have to change tack today? Or is it that even now, a bulk of the political ecosystem seems to buy into this theory that this Swamiji has been framed?
I go for the second one, because the political parties are in no position to sort of oppose the Swami, and they don't want to pit themselves against the powerful Lingayat voters, since the elections are coming in a few months' time. As you have seen, the Congress, the BJP or the Janata Dal, they have either remained silent or came in support of the Swami. It's all because of the powerful community of Lingayats. The BJP sees itself as a party which has come to power over the last 2 decades, riding on the support of the BJP, while Congress, is trying to woo the Lingayat vote base.
Okay.
It is the same Swamiji who had given Lingayat Diksha to Rajiv Gandhi in his Rahul Gandhi in his last visit, to Davangere. He went to Chitradurga and took the Diksha. That is the kind of the clout that this man enjoys, and these parties don't want to sort of go against him or the Lingayat, the voters. That's why what we are seeing, is this way of support coming in through their silence for the Swamiji.
Okay, I want to ask Anurag Naidu, as far as I understand, and I'm not a follower of the Lingayat traditions, but Basavana believed in a casteless society, in an egalitarian society. He always said that the poorest amongst poor should be given the topmost priority. In this case, one of the 2 victims, I'm given to understand, is a Dalit. And when the other seers who came and defended in a press conference this Shivamurti Sharanaru, they were asked this question: doesn't Lingayatism, doesn't Veerashaivism actually say that you should stand with the weakest of weak, with the poorest of poor? In this case, one of the victims is a Dalit, and they didn't have an answer for it.
Yes, I saw the press conference.
Anurag Naidu.
Was about this, and the Swamiji.
Or is it to me?
It will be very unfair to say, that he has not stood by because when POCSO has been leveled, there is also an SC/ST atrocities
Yes.
act that has been leveled, and he's following. It's very unfair to say comparing with Asaram, the likes of Nityananda, who has fled away. Asaram is in jail, convicted. He is not somebody. Dr. Shivamurti has not fled away anywhere. He was there very much in the ashram, and he is cooperating with the legal procedures. This is the first attempt by the police to arrest him, and he cooperated. He
Sir,
went to them,
I
and
don't know.
even if he
Look,
was
I know there has been a lot of chatter, a lot of rumor. I think some news organizations have carried this as well, that there was an attempt by the Swamiji to try and flee before he was arrested. Like I said, we haven't put that on air because we can't confirm that one way or the other. But
Exactly.
let it be said that there is chatter
Yes.
that there was an attempt by the Swamiji to flee. But be that as it may, go on, continue, finish your point.
No, Zafar, I appreciate that at least you were very balanced in that narrative, because we don't have any evidence to prove that he was fleeing away. But the fact is, he kept giving appointments to very important political leaders of the area. In fact, I'm told that some of the ministers have also spoken to him. That means he was expressing his thoughts openly, that he was concerned about the allegations, and he was all ready to cooperate with the police, and police never stopped. When the act was leveled, when POCSO was leveled, even after that, medical examinations were done, preliminary investigations were done, and the girls were in Mysuru. They were brought back to Chitradurga. Again, the case was transferred to Chitradurga. So it all takes 4-5 days of time, and I think it can be as good
Sir,
as
couple of things. If the Swamiji so wished, he could have presented himself before the police and said, I'm here, you can ask me whatever you want to ask me, put me through whatever lie detector you want to put me through. That onus was on him.
Yeah.
Number one. No, once again. And number two, he is such an influential figure that the said crime, it happened inside his mutt. And he had access to this mutt and the premises of the mutt for 6 days after this initial complaint came. If this person is influential and powerful, the first thing he would do is tamper with evidence. He should have left the mutt on day one saying, if you believe that these allegations are true and this said crime has happened inside the mutt, and if you believe that I as an influential person is in a position to tamper with that evidence, he should have left the mutt. He didn't do that.
That's a fair point, Zaka, but this would have been very much practically applicable if it was one of the incidents that has happened yesterday. The case initially, and I'm absolutely supporting the girls here. I'm not denying that, but the case here, it was the complaint is of last 3 years. So and also if police really felt the need to immediately take an action because of the fear of tampering of evidence, they would have done that. But the larger cases, it is a big story, and the investigation will definitely take time.
Okay, Yogita wants to come in. She wants to make a point, and respond specifically to what Anurag is saying. That at least in the case of one of the girls, I'm given to understand that this said sexual harassment had been going on for the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
See, Zaka, we have to understand the social fabric of our country. It is not an easy task for a girl, especially a minor girl, to get that courage and get that confidence and come forward and report. It really needs a lot of motivation, support, confidence to come out.
Absolutely.
So I really don't want to judge the victim here. Like he was saying that he's not convicted. Why are you comparing him with Ram Rahim and Asaram? He's not convicted, but he should join the investigation. You are not letting the investigation take place. He's making excuses of medical grounds or whatever, XYZ. And
correct.
How a fair investigation will take place? We are right now not biased, but at least he should cooperate. He should not be running away from the investigation. He can't be calling political leaders and trying to influence them. So we know how it works. So we all know the facts. So I don't want to kind of get into the details of how things are motivated in this country, how the victims are discouraged and tortured, rather I would put this way. So let this happen. No, I think he should really be cooperative, not making excuses. Even if he has got cardiac arrest, let him rest, let him recover, and let him join the investigation. Getting cardiac
I
arrest
agree with
doesn't
you. I
prevent
mean,
him from
the
being
intent
innocent.
of cooperation is being called into question because it suddenly, I mean, after arrest, he develops a cardiac arrest. I mean, like I said, I don't want to throw a finger of suspicion here, but it does seem something that is worthy of questioning. But I want to ask Sriram Naik, one of the things that, people, supporters of the Swamiji have been raising is the girls reportedly had fled from his ashram, I think sometime in July, middle of July. But the complaint formally got registered with the police only sometime in August. So, is it possible that they were tutored in that 1 month? These are the questions that are being raised by the supporters of the Swamiji. How would you respond to that?
There are many things which might have happened during that time, which we cannot even decide or judge. And there are many other minor children in the same mud. They also need to be protected and they also need to be questioned. So what has happened with them, if in case there are any more victims or there are not, if in case there are not, we are really very happy. And if there are some more, then the law has to take its course. That is why we had sought for the court's intervention with respect to this particular matter.
I want to ask B.S. Arun, we do know that there were other children at the mutt when the allegations were made public, and subsequently they have been moved out from there. Do we know where they have been taken to? Do we know, over the last few days, there has been talk about other victims also coming forth and raising similar allegations. But so far, has there been any? Is there chance of others coming to the forefront and making similar allegations?
Laka, as far as these girls are concerned, there is no information about what happened in that interregnum of over 20 days. So it's not been, informed to others, but maybe the police who have already taken the statement of these girls under 164, they might have the information. But here another question arises. If these girls were away for a month or so from the hostel, did the hostel file any case of missing, or did they investigate, or did they talk to the parents or the guardians, in this regard? So that's a question that's left so far wide open.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. I want to thank B.S. Arun. I want to thank all the other guests who have joined us on the broadcast this evening. One thing is absolutely certain. This is just the first step. The arrest of the Lingayat Swami is just the first step in the grave charges that he faces of child sexual harassment and rape of 2 minor victims. It is the first step in which the court has now given the police his remand. The police will now have to confront him. They'll have to custodially interrogate him. And the onus is also on the Swamiji to because he's a public figure, because he's such a revered figure, to show that he's above board. He needs to come clean and tell the police what the truth is. But we'll keep a very close eye on that story, a story which CNN News 18 has been tracking for the last 1 week, and a story which CNN News 18 first broke last night when his arrest happened. Meanwhile, the latest development in the AIDMK internal feud, now O. Paneerselvam has said that he will move the Supreme Court after the Madras High Court set aside the order that repealed the appointment of Edappadi Palaniswamy as the party's interim general secretary. The latest order in favor of EPS has also legalized the party's general council meeting, which was held on the 11th of July, in which EPS was appointed as interim chief of the party. Now, this is a major setback for OPS. He's been claiming that the meeting was illegal and convened without his consent. In view of the verdict, police personnel were deployed at the AIADMK office. So clearly, this is a setback for not just OPS, but also for Shashikala and TTV Dinakaran. Remember, there's been a meeting of minds, if not a coming together, of OPS, Dinakaran and Shashikala to try and reclaim jointly the lost legacy of Amma. EPS, on the other hand, of course, has control of the majority of the party workers, the district secretaries, and other organizational secretaries and so on. So his faction is definitely welcoming this big reprieve from the division bench of the Madras High Court. Let me go across to Purnima. All right, we'll move on here on Viewpoint. After a big crackdown on terror-linked madrasas by the Assam government, now Uttar Pradesh government has issued instructions to all the district magistrates to conduct a survey of unrecognized madrasas by the 10th of September. The survey team will include the SDM, the BSA, as well as district minority officers. The government has also announced that it will conduct a survey of unrecognized madrasas in the state to gather information about the number of teachers, about the curriculum, and the basic facilities that are available there, among others. But Some folks like Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi and other opposition parties have taken strong exception to this.
संविधान के आर्टिकल 30 के तहत मुझे एक फंडामेंटल राइट हासिल है कि मैं अपने मदरसे खोलूं, अपने पसंद के एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूट्स खोलूं। इसमें सरकार क्यों मुदाखलत करेगी? आप सर्वे क्यों करना चाह रहे हैं? आपको इससे लेना देना क्या है? क्या आप उनकी तनख्वाह दे रहे हैं? जो मदरसा बोर्ड के तहत मदरसे हैं उनकी तनख्वाह तो आप दे नहीं रहे हैं पिछले 4 साल से। ये मदरसे प्राइवेट मदरसे हैं। अब आप एक ऑर्डर जारी कर दीजिए ना कि अब आप मुसलमान मत रहिए, आप कुरान मत पढ़िए, नमाज मत पढ़िए, ऑर्डर जारी कर दीजिए। वही करना चाह रहे आप। ये सर्वे नहीं है बल्कि एक छोटा एनआरसी है ये।
सर, मैं जानना चाहूंगा कि मैपिंग क्यों हो रही है, कैसे हो रही है और अभी तक इस मामले पर क्या अपडेट है?
देखिए, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने स्पष्ट रूप से कहा है कि हम जाति और धर्म के खांचों में किसी भी बच्चे को नहीं बांटते। हमारा उद्देश्य है कि सभी बच्चों को अच्छी शिक्षा मिले और समान रूप से उनके जो शिक्षा का अधिकार है उसको संरक्षण दिया जाए। उस दृष्टि से जो हमारे इस सरकारी विद्यालय हैं उसके साथ अन्य प्रणालियों के माध्यम से जो भी विद्यालय चलते हैं, जहाँ तक मदरसे की बात आपने कही है, हमने मदरसा बोर्ड इसलिए बनाया है कि हम उनको आधुनिक शिक्षा भी दे सकें, जिससे वो अपने आने वाले जीवन में उन चुनौतियों से का भी सामना करने में सक्षम हों और सफल हों। हम शिक्षा के क्षेत्र को और जो आंतरिक सुरक्षा का क्षेत्र है दोनों को अलग अलग रखते हैं और शिक्षा के लिए जो भी इस तरह की व्यवस्थाएं हैं उसमें हम हस्तक्षेप नहीं करते, लेकिन जहां पर इस तरह की गतिविधियां होती हैं जिससे हमारी आंतरिक सुरक्षा को खतरा होगा, वहां पर कानूनी रूप से जो भी उचित होता है वो कार्रवाई देश के कानून के हिसाब से की जाती है।
ये जो आदेश है इस वक्त की सर्वे करेंगे तमाम डीएमएसपी हर जिलों में गैर मान्यता प्राप्त मदरसों का, क्या है इस आदेश का मूल तत्व? क्या जरूरत पड़ गई इस तरह का एक निर्णय लेने की उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार को?
देखिए, योगी सरकार मुस्लिम नौजवानों के तरक्की के लिए लगातार ग्राउंड लेवल पर ठोस काम कर रही है। मदरसों में हमने एनसीईआरटी का कोर्स लागू किया, मदरसों को हमने डिजिटलाइज किया, मदरसे के पाठ्यक्रम को हम ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म पर ले आए, ऐप के माध्यम से मदरसे के पाठ्यक्रम को ले आए। हमने एनसीसी एनएसएस को मदरसे से कनेक्ट किया। हर कदम दर कदम हम अपने मुस्लिम युवाओं के विकास को सुनिश्चित कर रहे हैं। ऐसे मदरसों का भी जानकारी होना गवर्नमेंट के लिए इसलिए जरूरी है कि गवर्नमेंट कोई भी स्कीम्स निकालती है तो उसके पास एग्जैक्ट आंकड़ा होना चाहिए।